So timers are basically used for running a certain code at specific times. For example, in our application, the local Zoom manager wants to receive a mail containing all the emergencies at say Friday 10 a.m. in the morning. Or, for example, consider that every day at 5 p.m. you do some database cleanup operations. So the cleanup code is going to run at 5 p.m. every day. So such things are the domain of timers. There are two types of timers. One is automatic timer, other one is programmatic timer. So for automatic timer, you have to just deploy your application containing the timer and the timer starts functioning. For programmatic timer, you have to manually create the timer in your code. So let's start with automatic timer. Let's create it. So let's create a new bean. Now let's name it timer bean. Let it be stateless. Let it not implement any interface. Now over here, let's create a method for the timer. So public void my timer method. Okay, and we'll just print out something. I am invoked. Okay, then since it's an automatic timer, you have to use one annotation for that. Annotation is schedule. Okay, and then you have to specify when the timer is supposed to go off. So let's make it every minute. Let's make it every hour, and let's make it every second. So right now do not worry about this expression. There are much more examples we are going to do about this expression, so don't worry at all. Just consider that this timer is going to go off every minute, every hour, every second. So basically this timer is going to run every second. When the application gets deployed, this method runs automatically because it's an automatic timer. That's it then. For running this timer, let me just comment this out so it doesn't interfere with our work of timers. Okay, now let's clear this out and let's run a timer, or let's deploy our application. The timer will run automatically every minute, every hour, every second. And here you see the timer executing per second. Okay, now let's create a programmatic timer. For that you have to create a timer in the code. So let's comment this out and let's create a programmatic timer. So first of all, let's write a method for starting the timer. Start my timer. Okay, and in this method we are going to create a timer, right? So before creating a timer, we have to use an interface named timer service, and this interface is available as a resource for us. So use resource as the annotation for injecting the timer service in your class, and then you have to create a scheduler expression first. Okay, scheduler expression SE is equal to new scheduler expression, and then you have to set the hour, minute and time just like before. So hour is going to be asterisk, that is every hour, every minute and every second. Then that's a scheduler expression. Now the second step is you have to create a timer, right? So we have to create the timer using the timer service interface. So timer service dot create calendar timer, and we pass the expression to it. Okay, and now that's it. The timer gets created and it will be run every hour, every minute, every second. But what is going to execute when this timer is created? For that you have to create a method. Just like after for automatic timers this method was run, we have to specify a method which is going to run for programmatic timers. So my prog timer method, and let's print out something. I am a timer. Okay, and we have to specify annotation of timeout. So basically when this timer is created and whenever this timer goes off, this method gets executed, marked with timeout. Okay, I forgot void. And before we run this example, we have to first execute this method, right? So in our tester class, let's inject a timer bean first, and then let's invoke the timer method. New bean dot my programmatic timer. New bean dot start my timer. So this method is being called, that is this, and it will create a timer, and because this is marked as timeout, this is going to execute. Now let's save and run this example, and here you see the programmatic timer running. So scheduler expression and schedule is only available in EJB 3.1, which comes with Java EE 6. But if you're using an older version of Java EE 5 and EJB 3, then you can't use scheduler expression. It's not available in Java EE 5. So you have to comment this out, and the only method available was simple timer creation. And here you have to specify in milliseconds when the timer is going to run. So this is going to run in 6 seconds. So after 6 seconds, this method gets run. The annotation is the same. So now that we know how to create a automatic timer and how to create a programmatic timer, let's move on to learning this expression, which is used over here and here. So here's the attributes you can use in your scheduler expression. So second goes from 0 to 59, minute goes from 0 to 59, hour goes from 0 to 23, it's a 24-hour clock, day of the week can be 0 to 7, or you can mention the names, day of the month is 1 to 31st, month goes from 1 to 12, or you can mention the names, and year is a 4-letter year, you can mention something like this. Just remember the default values, this stands for every. So the default values for second, minute and hour is 0. For everything else it's asterisk, that stands for every. So every day of the month, every day, every year, every month, and at 000, that is 12 at midnight. So here I have mentioned some examples. Over here are the attributes, over here are the default values, and these are the examples. Now let's see the first example. When we just mention Friday, it means that it just substitute the default values for whatever you don't specify. So this means that on every Friday at 000 means 12 at midnight, on every Friday 12 at midnight, and every day, every year, every month the timer gets executed or the timer runs. Now the second expression is on Wednesday at 17, meaning at 5 p.m. So Wednesday 5 p.m. this timer is going to run, and exactly at 5 p.m. because it's 00 over here by default. So exactly at 5 p.m. on Wednesday, every day, every year, every month, the timer is going to run. So this means every hour at 0 minute and 0 second, the timer is going to run on every day, every year, every month. So first it will run at 12 at midnight, then it will run at 1 a.m., then 2 a.m. and so on. Now this means on the 1st of May 2015 at 10 a.m. in the morning, exactly at 10 a.m. because this becomes 0, exactly at 10 a.m. the timer is going to run. So up till here we are using just single words. Now we can use a list like this. So this basically means on Monday and Tuesday at 10 a.m. in the morning, 10 past 5 in the morning, the timer is going to run. So instead of this is called a list. So instead of a list, you can also specify a range. So this means that Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday at 1 p.m. afternoon, the timer is going to run. Now we have seen list, we have seen simple attributes, we have seen list, we have seen range. Now there is another one called wildcard. Wildcard means it stands for every. So every hour, every minute, every second, and every day, every year, every month, the timer is going to run. So basically this timer is going to run every second. Now after simple, list, range, wildcard, there is another last attribute which stands for interval. So basically this means that it will initially run at 9 a.m. in the morning, then at the intervals of 2 hours, for example 9 a.m., then 11 a.m., then 1 p.m. and so on. So this specifies the starting point and this specifies the interval. So the last expression again uses the interval expression. This means the timer is going to run every hour, every minute and every second, and after that at the interval of 3 seconds. For example, if it runs after a lapse of 1 second, it again runs after lapse of 3 seconds and so on. Just show you this last timer. Let's go to our examples. Let's comment this out. This is a programmatic timer. Let's comment this out, and let's comment this out, and let's uncomment our automatic timer. Then go over here, let's comment out this method, so that this was for the creation of programmatic timer. Now instead of seconds we specify it will run every 3 seconds. Instead of every second, it will now run at the intervals of 3 seconds. So let's save and run this example. So this is going to run after every 3 seconds. So it's running after 3 seconds. Okay. Now what if we want to cancel our timers? We don't want our timers to function anymore. What do you do for that? For that, we have to again use this interface, and for that let's create a method. So public void cancel my timers. Okay. And then we have to again use this object, timer service. So we'll use a for each loop for each timer in ts dot get timers. Okay. Then actually we had to use this, gives object instead of a timer object directly. So let's use an object and let's create a timer. Timer is equal to timer object. Okay, let's cast it and then import timer, and then let's create a local variable. Okay, so I imported the egb.timer. After the timer creation, you can call timer.cancel, which cancels this timer. Okay, so anyone who calls this method can cancel the timer. So for example, we can call it over here, new bean dot cancel my timers, and this will cancel the timers.